Welcome to Hobson Place. My name is Daniel Malone. I'm the DESC Executive Director, and it is my great honor and privilege to welcome you all to this wonderful celebration of our community's latest commitment to improving the lives of people who have had such a hard time in our society, and especially in recent times. This building will very soon be home to 85 people who have been surviving through the most difficult circumstances on the streets of our communities, and their lives will change dramatically. They will throw off the daily stress of wondering how they're going to survive on the streets and begin to open a new chapter in their lives that will result in so much less chaos and heartache and struggle, and be able to rejoin more fully the life of the community here. We don't do anything more important at DESC in our work than providing homes for people, and that's what we're doing today. Thanks to so many of you for having a hand in making this a reality. And thanks for being here with us today. I understand we have record turnout for this event. I'm so glad we were able to squeeze everybody in to the space here. Of course, you aren't actually here with us in person today, and I suppose that's because the heavens decided that things weren't hard enough on all of us in the work that we're trying to do, and brought us to a new way of having to do things. And what's important about that for today is that it's never been more important for us to be able to create new housing for people who don't have it, because over the last 8 months, as dire as things have been for a number of years for some of the most vulnerable people in the community, it's been even tougher and even worse. And this is a lifeline. We together are providing a lifeline to the individuals who are going to reside here, and also to all of the people who work at DESC who are trying to do work in this time when it's never been more difficult. It was difficult work to begin with over all the years of helping people when there weren't enough resources for everyone, but the last 8 months have added a whole new twist to that, where so many people are deteriorating because so much of what they're accustomed to relying on has frayed during the pandemic. So again, welcome. We've got several speakers we hope you will enjoy in this very brief program today, and we'll give you a little peek inside what it's like here at Hobson Place, and what kind of experience something like this does for a person when they're able to move in. And we'll show you a little bit about what's coming up next in the future. So again, welcome, and here we go. We're really proud of Hobson Place, and we'd like to show you around. So let's start out front. Tenants will have their own keys, come and go as they please, and they'll enter through the front door here. At this front desk area will be staff available for all kinds of support 24/7. Coming into the rest of the lobby, you see typical amenities for apartment buildings, such as a place for your mail, elevator and stair entries, and lots of other space where we can provide opportunities for people to participate in group activities, to have meals, to receive counseling, to see a nurse, to just take a load off, not have to be outside somewhere out on the streets. We happen to be in a time right now where we're not filling our lobbies with furniture for people. Eventually we will. We'll have furniture for people to gather together for dining, lounging, or for engaging in other kinds of social or therapeutic activities together. Here we have a quiet room. Is an amenity for staff to be able to be alone with their thoughts or their prayers or their activities that they need to engage in a more private manner. Here's our kitchen. We have some amount of meal service that we're able to provide to the tenants here. While of course they all have cooking facilities in their own apartments, we're able to help meet their nutritional needs through our meal service and also just give us another opportunity for less formal interaction with people while we build relationships and find ways that we can be better involved in their lives. So we've got a whole team of staff here to help the tenants and run the operation. This is all led by the project manager, who's got an office here. Also have a team known as the clinical support specialists who really work with individual tenants on whatever it is that will help them maintain their housing and see what life might have in store for them. Here we are on the 6th floor looking at some of the apartments. You'll see it looks like a fairly conventional apartment building. One simple amenity we have in the apartments is a safety device connected to the stoves and ranges where you've got to have a timer turned on in order for power to go to the stove and range, which also turns on the fan. If somebody chooses to open the window, then the heat is going to stop operating, so we're not wasting a lot of energy. We also are able to monitor water flow such that if a person is leaving the water running for extended periods of time in the shower or the sink, we'll get an alert about that and we'll be able to make some kind of intervention that helps a person deal with what's going on without wasting water and energy. So we're taking this tour right before the furniture has arrived. When people move into these apartments, each unit will be furnished. There will be a bed, a dresser, a table and chairs, as well as a full array of amenities such as dishes, linens, towels, all of those kinds of important things that, of course, the folks that will be living here don't have their own supply of when they first move in. And these furnishings in the kitchens and the bathrooms come from so many wonderful volunteers who adopted each apartment to provide all of those items. Thank you so much. Next up is Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan. The City of Seattle is DESC's strongest partner in the creation of permanent supportive housing, such as Hobson Place here today. And we are so grateful for the mayor's participation with us today and also her recent initiative to really expand and accelerate the creation of so much more permanent supportive housing, which our community needs. Mayor Durkan.
Hi, I'm Mayor Jenny Durkan. I want to extend my congratulations to DESC on the opening of 85 new permanently supportive housing units at Hobson House. We know that housing is healthcare. It makes the whole person better. Permanent supportive housing helps address COVID-19 by getting people who are chronically homeless off the street and into safe, permanent, stable housing, and allowing people to physically distance. But at Hobson House, residents will also have access to wraparound physical, mental, and substance abuse disorder care, in addition to on-site case management. During this unprecedented public health and economic crisis, the city is committed to bringing more permanent supportive housing online in record time. The 85 homes opening today will soon be joined by 350 new homes that are currently under construction and 600 new homes that will come online by the end of 2021 as part of the permanent supportive housing pilot I announced last month. This is in addition to the 3,700 permanent supportive housing units we already have in Seattle in service. We are proud that the Office of Housing was able to provide funding for Hobson Place through the voter-approved housing levy. Seattle voters stand up for what's right. It shows that when we bring public dollars together with private investment, we can effect true change. Even as we celebrate the completion of Phase 1 at Hobson Place, DESC is hard at work finishing the second phase of this project, 92 units of affordable housing for people with disabilities who've experienced homelessness. Congratulations again on this incredible achievement, and thank you for the work you do every day serving the city's most vulnerable neighbors. Your service is so important to all of us.
Thank you, Mayor Durkan. Next up is King County Executive Dow Constantine. King County is one of DESC's longest and greatest partners in so much of the work we do in both housing and behavioral health services to our population. And we're very pleased to have the support of the county and Dow Constantine.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this very special dedication. I'm sorry that all this physical distancing forces me to miss being there with you in person to speak about an agency I hold in high regard and a man I deeply admired. I was honored to join Dan Malone and the amazing DESC team at the groundbreaking last August for Bill Hobson Place. We spoke then about how proud Bill would be of this project, creating supportive housing and a community health clinic in a location specifically designed and accessible to people experiencing homelessness. We had no idea on that August day how dramatically life would change for all of us with the turn of the new year. Our region, our nation, indeed the world is wrestling with a global health crisis unlike anything we've seen in over 100 years. As a community, we've shared a vulnerability to this deadly illness, but there are those in our global community who have a greater risk and a higher vulnerability to the dangers of coronavirus. Among those most vulnerable are individuals and families experiencing homelessness. In the early days of the pandemic, we worked with all our shelter providers, including and especially DESC, to create safer shelter options, including moving hundreds of people from crowded shelters to individual hotel rooms throughout the county. Months later, we are seeing many of those individuals able to sleep safe and warm every night in their own rooms, beginning counseling and treatment programs, rebuilding their physical and emotional health, gaining employment, and establishing relationships. Reminding us of a simple fact: housing is critical to health. Housing, combined with 24/7 on-site services, reestablishes what is missing for those who live with the dual challenges of homelessness and mental health, or substance use disorders. A stable foundation. Leading the charge for permanent supportive housing, not just here in King County, but across the nation, was DESC and Bill Hobson. For over 40 years, DESC has brought innovation and leadership to the design and delivery of housing and services specifically for the most vulnerable members of our society. Housing first. It was the right idea then, it's the right idea now. King County is proud of our many collaborations with DESC over the past 40 years, both in partnering in shelter innovations and in creating permanent housing. To date, over $14 million in capital funds have helped create over 750 supportive housing units, and more than $1 million in county funds each year support the on-site services for residents. Today, we celebrate the first phase of Bill Hobson Place. DESC will move 85 people off the streets and into their own homes. And when fully completed, 177 people will find a home here. Just as important, Hobson Place will include a full-scale healthcare clinic and integrated health and behavioral health care services, welcoming and providing care for people who are living with homelessness. I knew and worked with Bill Hobson for many years, as a state legislator and as both a King County council member and as county executive. Bill was a fierce and tenacious advocate for the people he served. I suppose there are many other ways to describe Bill Hobson. I will say that I respected the fact that he did not back down and he never stopped fighting for the rights and needs of people experiencing homelessness, even in his retirement. The project that carries his name carries that deep commitment forward. I'm happy to be here, albeit virtually, not only to support an organization that is at the forefront of combating homelessness in our region, but also to honor a man who meant so much to this community, Every person deserves the dignity of a place to call home. Hobson Place is a more than fitting legacy to the vision and leadership of Bill Hobson. I'm proud to join you today in honoring an extraordinary man and the organization that continues to serve our community with courage and commitment.
Thank you, Executive Constantine. We have a special treat for you today, which is to share with you some really inspired and inspirational artwork that will really improve the atmosphere in Hobson Place. So this comes about because we connected with Louis Gong. Louis is the founder of 8th Generation, a Seattle-based art and lifestyle brand owned by the Snoqualmie tribe. We met Louis several years ago when DESC was opening a new shelter program, and that program was going into a facility owned by the Seattle Indian Services Commission and had great ties to a number of people in the local Native community here. And Louis became aware that this building was to be used to welcome people in off the street and provide shelter for them, and he reached out to say that he wanted to improve the environment and bring art into it. And he produced a very large piece in the entryway that provides a very clear, beautiful welcome message to people as they come inside. And he also curated a significant amount of beautiful framed art that hangs throughout different locations in the facility. And we were so touched that he thought to do this, to welcome people in off the streets, that we were extremely excited when our next housing development was coming along, and we thought we would have an opportunity to work with Louis to commission some permanent art pieces that would be part of the homes that we were creating for people. So we're so happy that the work of Louis and other prestigious members of Coast Salish tribes will be represented here on a large scale in both phases of Hobson Place.
In the springtime, I start going out into the forest areas and start harvesting. A couple years ago, I could see the growth of all these different plants and the new growth coming off the trees. And so I came back like a couple weeks later, but it was after the snow. Brushed aside the snow to see if the plants still survived. And the plants did. They were still there. They were still growing and flourishing. You could still feel the energy. The resilience of the plants and the trees still came through even after it snowed. And that's what I wove about for the Hobson Place.
Here in Seattle, we're in the Coast Salish cultural region, and Coast Salish is a broad anthropological term that refers to a diversity of tribes that exist very roughly from Vancouver, BC, down to Portland, Oregon, on the west side of the mountains. Coast Salish art is different than Northwest Coast art. Northwest Coast art is most closely aligned with totem poles, and people often mistake Northwest Coast art as being the cultural art of Seattle. It's not. The cultural art of Seattle is Coast Salish art. My name is Louis. I'm a Nooksack tribal member, and I was raised in my community by my grandpa who's Chinese and my grandma who is Native. I'm the founder of 8th Generation. We're a Native-owned small business based right here in Seattle, and our focus is creating beautiful products for retail that use authentic artwork and carry authentic stories. DESC approached me about doing the public art for the Hobson Place project. What I decided to pursue is this idea of bringing Coast Salish textile designers into brighter visibility by featuring them on the DESC Hobson Place project. The new DESC location will have beautiful art pieces that are rooted in Coast Salish textile design. When people look at these pieces, it may look like typical art designed to embellish the physical space, but it really has deeper meaning than that. The art that you see there is going to be highly unique in the Seattle area, and what it represents is Coast Salish people reclaiming a visual presence in their home area. One of the things that was really appealing to myself and the artists who are involved in the project is this idea of a healing clinic being connected to the building. What we want to do is create an inspiring, warm environment for the people that will be living at Hobson Place.
We never made anything that was just supposed to sit around and be pretty. It was always something that was utilitarian, it had a job, had a duty. Everything on the earth, you can use it for something. I believe that the plants and the trees and the earth can bring healing to the people. We need to all work together to keep healthy, to stay healthy, and pass it on to other generations.
My name is Stephen Bullock. I am the Deputy Director of Operations for DESC. Bill Hobson is often quoted as saying, "The solution to homelessness is not rocket science, it's a home." While the concept is very true, building a large permanent supportive housing program sometimes feels more like rocket science than not. It takes hundreds of people, if not thousands, to bring a project from an idea through financing, design, and execution. We would like to take a moment to celebrate and recognize our partners who made our vision a reality. City of Seattle McKinney Programs, Walsh Construction Company, Corporation for Supportive Housing, National Equity Fund, J.P. Morgan Chase, City of Seattle Office of Housing, HUD, Office of Community Planning and Development, Washington State Housing Finance Commission, State of Washington Housing Trust Fund, Lotus Development Partners, King County Department of Community and Health Services, and Rumberg Architectural Group.
Thank you, Stephen. And also, thank you to Seattle Housing Authority. And thank you to Chuck, Chris, and Lynn Kuzak, from whom we bought the property. When it came to choosing a name for this building, which is so significant for us with a tremendous amount of additional permanent supportive housing units, as well as a long-held vision of creating an integrated behavioral and physical health care clinic, the choice was easy. We named this after Bill Hobson, our longtime leader and my friend and mentor and teacher for so many years, who set DESC on a course to really change the trajectory of life for so many people in this community. That's why we're calling this place Hobson Place. Bill Hobson had this force of personality. He kind of made you feel like we had a shot at doing what needed to be done, and so you kept wanting to show up and keep going at it, sometimes despite the odds. He often said, "We don't even know what our clients are capable of achieving because we've never had the resources to put toward finding out."
To me, Bill was a mentor. I worked with him for 14 years. We worked very closely together. In many ways, DESC became what it was under Bill's leadership. Bill was clear that homelessness is the result of failed public policies, and the only way we're going to address homelessness is to address those failed public policies. And that truly has been an inspiration for me. I really just took those day-to-day lessons from Bill, and it really helped make me the person who I am today.
I think the penultimate goal for any human service agency working with homeless people is to get them housed. The solution to homelessness is not rocket science. It's a home.
So very soon, 85 people are going to be moving into this building, and they represent 85 different stories and 85 different experiences. We would like to share with you now the experience of one person who's had the benefit of moving into supportive housing. Meet Gray.
Every single morning I wake up, I look around and I'm just thankful. Thankful that I'm waking up in a bed and not on a park bench. I call it having an attitude of gratitude. You know, this is the first time that I've actually had my own place my whole life. I was abandoned at birth and adopted when I was 4. And the lady that adopted me, she named me Gray. I left home when I was 15. And basically, I've been homeless since then. When you're outside, you're outdoors, it changes you. You wake up freezing, you know, it's just, oh Lord. Or I have to go through a gallon of vodka because it's gonna be 30 degrees tonight. And the vodka kind of keeps you warm. You know, so you fall into these habits and you lose your self-worth, you know, you lose a sense of who you are, you know what I mean? And once people look down at you like you're a hobo and you're an outsider, you're homeless, once people start looking at you, you start looking at yourself that way too.
How did you find DESC? How did that happen?
I just learned that there was a downtown shelter, you know, and they said if you don't have a place to go, that's where you can go. DESC has helped a lot of people. They helped me. They pulled me out of that muck because I would not be alive today. I would not have lasted this long if I had remained out there. I truly believe that. So since I've been here, I've messed up a couple times, you know, but for the most part, there's a seed in me that is growing and changing constantly toward the right direction. Yeah, I thought that, oh, this can't be real. I didn't believe it at first until I walked in there with my counselor, and you know, and I cried, you know, I teared up, you know, and it was a miracle. You know, I remember what it's like to have to go to the restroom and no place would accept me. You know, sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't, you know, and I have a bathroom now, and a shower, and a tub, and a toilet. I've written a lot of beautiful songs here. Done a lot of beautiful art, you know, and DESC has brought a lot of that stuff out of me. You know, they kind of rescued me when I was, you know, way bad off. Had no hope whatsoever. And I'm still, my heart is still pounding. I'm still excited. I'm still as grateful and thankful, if not more. You know, I'm so thankful for all of it and everyone. You know, I just can't say that enough.
My name is Billy Joe Hules. I lead a band called the Dusty 45s. My big brother started going down the path of schizophrenia. So he wasn't able to care for himself, eventually lost his home, and all of his means of income. DESC stepped in as a family member and brought him back essentially to secure life by providing a small, livable space for him in one of their buildings. My brother's alive today because of their wonderful work. So I just want to say, tune in to Gimme Shelter. Open up your heart and your pocketbook if you can, because DESC is giving shelter to those folks that need it. So let's help people and support this great organization.
So before we wrap up, we'd like to spend just a moment telling you what's next for us here at DESC. So as you might have guessed, because we're here for phase 1 opening of Hobson Place, there's a phase 2. Phase 2 is already under construction right next door. We're hard at work on even more permanent supportive housing after that. We will have 100 new apartments in Bitter Lake neighborhood of Seattle. We will have 125 new apartments in the Green Lake neighborhood of Seattle. Phase 2 of Hobson Place will add 92 more apartments. And we're working on the neighborhood of 100 more apartments beyond that outside the city of Seattle. In addition to all of the extremely important new housing we have in the works, we are, with phase 2 of Hobson Place, about to open something really extraordinary. It will be what we call an integrated physical and behavioral health care clinic that DESC will operate as the behavioral health care provider in conjunction with Harborview Medical Center as the physical health care provider. Together, we will do something that hasn't been done in this region before, which is to integrate both of those kinds of care aimed specifically at a population group that often doesn't get their needs met really in either arena of care. So people who've experienced long-term homelessness, who have co-occurring conditions ranging from serious mental illness to substance addiction to an array of physical and medical ailments, will be able to get care for all of their needs in one place at the same time, using the expertise of DESC and our partners at Harborview. We couldn't be more excited about this coming online next year when the second phase of Hobson Place opens and we add in the rest of the apartments that are part of this great project. We were able to do this event for you today thanks to the really wonderful work of Alex Hamlin. So thanks, Alex, for making this possible. Well, we've reached the end. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Those of you who are live with us on Zoom, feel free to stay tuned and we'll be happy to take your questions.